Welcome to Guys We Fucked. Guys We Fucked.
Guys We Fucked. I'm Christina.
I'm Corinne.
We're
sorry about last night. The anti-slut shaming podcast. I never stop.
What up, fuckers? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fucked.
It is the anti-slut shaming podcast. I'm Corinne.
I'm Christina.
It's with one R and two N's. I just have to let everyone know.
Oh man, I'm gonna start bitching people out for not spelling your name
If I see one more email with Corrine, I'm gonna lose it. And you guys know I'm very close to the edge already. Anyway, speaking of that, Take My Wife. It's a show on CISO exclusively, and that's SEESO.com. It's ad-free streaming comedy with new originals, classics, late night, and stand-up specials. Take My Wife is a new show about careers, couples, comedy, and motorcycle jackets. Get it? That was a lesbian joke. Oh my God. It stars real-life comedians and real-life wives, Cameron Esposito and Rhea Butcher. Go to CISO.com and use promo code Take My Wife and get 2 months free.
Or just go out on the street and yell, "Take my wife," and just see how people react. And that's how you know you're your true friend.
That also helps.
Come see us live, you guys. If you are in Atlantic City or near Atlantic City, get off that slot sheen and come to the Atlantic City Comedy Club. We are going to be there tomorrow, right? That's technically tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, August 20th at 8 p.m. Wendy Starling and I are bringing Glamour Puss to the Atlantic City Comedy Club. Tickets are in the description of this podcast. The link, they're $15. Come on down. It's going to be fun.
And then on Wednesday, August 24th in New York City at 9 p.m. at the Standing Room, which is Long Island City, Katie Hannigan and I co-host The Comedian Project. It's sets without talking about relationships, sex, or dating. Use code SEX for $5 tickets to that. Then a couple days later on Friday, August 26th at 11 p.m., Blair Saki and I are back at New York Comedy Club for Nacho Bitches. Tickets are just $10 when you use the code NACHO, and it's 16 and up if you have an adult with you.
Ooh, adults. The next day, Saturday, August 27th at 7:30 p.m., Wendy Starling and I are hosting our monthly show, Glamour Puss, at our usual stomping ground, Zinc Bar in the West Village. It's 21 and up. Come, we have stand-up. There is a variety act who is actually a musician who has been featured on this podcast. Her songs. Oh, and speaking of, if you have any music, you know anybody does, you want to feature it on the show, gwfpodcastmusic@gmail.com.
And then Toronto, Canada, we're going to be at Just for Laughs Toronto on Thursday, September 22nd at 9 p.m. That show is going to be a live recording of Guys We Fucked. And then on Friday, September 23rd, also at 9 p.m., we're doing Guys We Fucked The Experience, which is our touring show where we bring the podcast to life in a magical way.
Oh, magic.
And individual tickets are now available for both these shows. You've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Now it's happening.
Get your tickets. We have a website, you guys. It's sorryaboutlastnightcomedy.com. And if you type that in and go /contact, sign up on the bottom left-hand corner, enter your email address. We're putting together a mailing list. We ain't going to email you all the time because that's really fucking annoying, you know? But we have some really exciting announcements that we want to let you know about, and we want to email them to you. So sign up and brighten your life. Speaking of brightening your life, my mom just texted me, "Christina's my Blue Apron coming today." Guys, this episode of Guys We Fucked is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron has single-handedly saved my parents' marriage by letting them cook together and enjoy time and not fight because they're too busy chopping scallions. Blue Apron knows that when you cook with incredible ingredients, you make incredible meals. So they set the highest quality standards for their community of artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles or wild-caught Alaskan salmon, Blue Apron is bringing you the best. It's less than $10 a meal, you guys, and it's pre-portioned ingredients. Customize your recipes. If you don't like lamb, be like, "I don't like a lamb." If you're a vegetarian, be like, "Meat's not for me. Send me only vegetables." Shipping is free. And each box includes an easy-to-follow step-by-step recipe card. The pictures are very helpful. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So what you got to do, go to blueapron.com/GWF and get cooking, motherfuckers. Also, there was one day where my parents thought the Blue Apron was coming later or earlier and it didn't. So my dad texted me his picture because they always text me pictures of their meals because they like couldn't believe that they made that.
Yeah.
It really, you're proud of yourself.
Yeah, it's impressive. It looks like a restaurant.
You impress yourself with and so my dad goes, the Blue Apron hasn't come yet. So this is straight from Red Apron Ed. And it was just a lettuce leaf with tuna fish on it. And I was like, Daddy, you're so funny.
Oh my gosh. And then we have one more ad from one more amazing sponsor. I know you're like, oh my God, so many sponsors. But then when we go on tour, because we don't have to be at our desk jobs anymore, you're going to be like, wow, I'm so glad they read that extra ad.
Yeah, suck it.
So thanks to Movement Watches, I have a beautiful gold watch from Movement Watches. And I feel like I'm very smart when I wear a watch because I'm like, I kind of like hate almost all jewelry.
Yeah.
But I like wearing this watch. I like wearing the watch and my nose ring, but they don't make nose rings. So
get on it.
I hate things on my wrist except for Movement Watches. And that's true. And they didn't pay me to say that.
No.
I allow it. Movement Watches have tons of interchangeable color schemes to match your summer outfit. Or if you're in a place where it's not summer, also that outfit or mood for that day's look with a genuine leather band, 3-hand quartz movement, and stainless steel case. Movement delivers classic watches for a price that's honestly a steal. They look like they cost like maybe $500 and the prices start at only $115. So go to mvmtwatches.com/GWF and they'll give you 15% off your entire purchase. That's mvmtwatches.com/GWF. Also, happy birthday to James. His birthday is tomorrow.
Go happy birthday. Just kidding. You fucking asshole. I'm kidding. Happy birthday, James. Aw, you should get him a Movement watch. I don't know, maybe.
He used to be a jeweler, so
that's right.
I don't, that's not my line of expertise.
I got Steven one and I was like, that looks fucking sexy. The subject line of this email, and if you would like to email us, our email address is sorryaboutlastnightshow@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. This subject line is, how do you eat a man's ass? I think this was Christina who said she has eaten her boyfriend's ass. Please explain this. How do you approach this? Does he keep himself shaven and clean? Is he on his back? My boyfriend has enjoyed a little ass play. If I'm giving him a BJ, I'll sometimes slip a finger in. And I kind of want to take it to the next level, but I think he might be a little embarrassed about it just because we've never talked about it. I just do it every now and then.
Yeah, this is a great question. Christina, how do you eat a man's ass?
Well, let me tell you how to eat a man's ass. You know what was in my head? First of all, he doesn't, he's clean, obviously. I'm not going to be like, oh, you just got back from yoga? Let me eat your ass. No. But whenever I do it, it's usually after he's showered because that's the preferable time for me and him.
It's a safe time.
Yeah, he doesn't shave, but he doesn't have a hairy asshole.
Right.
Do guys have hairy assholes?
Women have hairy assholes.
My asshole, like my ass, like the whole, it's not hairy. Like the part that women bleach, like white women anyway, or like lighter skinned, like, because I didn't realize it was darker around the butthole.
Yeah.
Like, and it is. So I guess like I don't get asshole bleaching, but that area, that like little circumference area that's darker.
Oh,
that doesn't have hair on it.
Yeah, but sometimes because normally, so if I'm working at a spa, when you do a Brazilian wax, a true Brazilian wax also involves waxing the whole ass crack.
Well, the ass crack, yeah. Well, but the actual hole, like, not in that darker area?
No, not growing out of the hole, but I certainly will have like a little bit, like, because basically it's just like the continuation of like vagina hair going back around. So I just shave it myself.
Yeah.
Because
I squat in the shower and
it's not
be gentle.
But I mean, some people, I would say I'm like a medium level of hairy.
Yeah.
You seem like you're and also
lighter.
Your hair is lighter. So the light hair is always like thinner and less noticeable.
Okay.
But I have very light skin and very dark hair. So it's more noticeable.
Well, so he doesn't shave, but he's clean. Mm-hmm. And the first time I did it, I was just like, this is a pussy and I acted like I was eating a pussy. Even though I I kind of did it twice, but I did do it twice. And I didn't really enjoy it, but I enjoyed pretending that it was with him. Does that make any sense?
Well, see, I would think about it like just giving a rim job. Like, were you actually sticking your tongue in the anus?
Sometimes. The first time I did not.
I
was pressing my
cave
tongue.
I don't want to enter. I'm scared.
And I understand. But I've entered it with
rim
my
jobs
tongue.
I'm comfortable with.
I've entered the asshole with my tongue.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't regret it. It's like, I would imagine, like when you put your tongue inside a vagina, you can't really stick your tongue that far up a woman's vagina, but
like the hole you're talking about? Yeah.
The whole part. So the first time I did it, I just like licked around, and then I like made my tongue wider, and I just kind of pressed it up against his asshole, and I just licked.
Okay.
And I thought of the owl in the Tootsie Roll commercial while I was doing it, and then I had to stop. But because it made me laugh, and when I laugh, I'm not turned, like my vagina dries up. So I just licked around it, and I pressed my tongue against it, and then as I got more into it and did it more, I did put my tongue in his butt, and then just for like a second.
This is fascinating to me that you would do this, but then you said you wouldn't put balls in your mouth.
No.
That's so amazing, because I'll put balls in my mouth all day.
Balls in the mouth all day.
I'm always putting balls in my mouth.
That's a Run the Jewels song, but it's dick in the mouth all day. So the times that I have, it's not because it's gross. It's because I can't get them to all fit.
The balls?
In my mouth. I like stuff them.
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean, that's not what
I'm licking them, holding them.
I lick them.
Just, keeping them apart. Just letting them know that I care about them.
Hey, I want you to know.
I just want them to know that they're a part of things.
That's nice of you. No, so that's what I do. I lick around it. I put pressure on the actual asshole with my tongue. And then every once in a while, I like lick up and down. Yeah. And then when I get to the hole, I put my tongue in a little bit, and then I keep going.
So it's like, variety, like in like giving a blowjob, where you keep it moving, keep it
moving, keep it grooving. You know what I'm saying? You should hire me as your ass eating coach. And I'll just be like, keep moving, keep it grooving.
Oh, boy.
Tanya.
God.
Yeah. So I hope that helps. You just go with the flow.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's with most.
And also talk to your boyfriend about it, because then you won't be embarrassed about it.
Well, I mean, or you can just keep like, inch in there a little bit.
Inch in there. After you both take a shower, just be
Don't
sure.
knock him down and spread his cheeks and put your mouth in there.
That is so rude.
Unless he's just likes to be a sub. Other than that, I don't know if he would like that.
You know what? I didn't talk to Steven about licking his ass. Actually, I just did it.
I don't know. Well, I feel like it depends. Like, I mean, because like if he's not listening to the Guys We Fuck podcast, he's probably not like all open and into conversation. And then it might make him feel weird about saying that he wants something that he will enjoy.
Totes.
Sometimes as a partner, you need to know what your partner is going to like before they know.
Or what you sense are holding back.
And I'm not saying like do things without consent, but
as consent, it's very important.
We're going to get to that right now. All right. So this moves us to our second email, which is subject line, upsetting experience in Airbnb, and I don't know what to do. Hi, ladies. I love your show and your advice. Keep up the good energy into the world. I mean, we're putting out. I was like, I don't know if I'm doing that, but thanks.
Angels everywhere.
I have been traveling for the last 2.5 weeks and have had experiences with an Airbnb host that was traumatic, and I'm not sure what to do about it. Reader's Digest on me. I am a 22-year-old American girl, but did my entire undergrad abroad in the UK. And during my final semester in university, I've been traveling quite a bit and often alone. There's a large gap of time between when exams finish at my university and when graduation is in about a month. So usually people do lots of traveling around Europe during that time. I'm also a very sex positive person and enjoy sex, and I'm very friendly. Sometimes me being a decent and friendly person is mistaken for interest, which I've tried to work on. Oh, goodness. And if you're listening and wondering why girls are bitches, this is why. But it still happens that guys assume that me not being a total bitch to them means I want to fuck them. It's fucking frustrating because it's like, why is this on me? Why do I have to completely alter my friendly and talkative personality to make sure I'm not sending out some magic message that I want your dick in one of my orifices? Well said. Okay, continuing with the story. I've stayed in 7 Airbnbs now, usually with a friend, but have been in a few by myself. The first time I used Airbnb, I was in London and hadn't used the service before, so I rented a private room and didn't realize I wouldn't have the whole flat to myself. After paying close to £200 for a 3-night stay, I found myself having to contend with my clingy male host. He was fairly harmless, but did hit on me and attempt to make a move the last night I was there, but I told him no and went to my room. He seemed to respect my no, and I didn't feel like he would hurt me. However, I was jarred by the experience and frustrated that I had spent a good deal of money only to have to fend off the unwanted attention of some dude when I literally just wanted a space to stay in. On that, I say, yes, it's totally annoying getting hit on when you're just trying to hang out, but like, such is life. I mean, I don't know. Next part. I am careful when I travel solo. I watch my belongings, my drink. I tell my friends and family where I am going. I stay away from certain parts of town at night and do research on a city so I don't attract extra attention by looking like a lost tourist. I'd been to London by myself twice, along with Copenhagen and Palma de Mallorca, all with absolutely no problems, but almost no Airbnb stays. So wanting to do more traveling before I leave Europe and my visa expires, I booked a trip to Prague and Palma again. I had been wanting to go to Prague for 2 years and was very much looking forward to the trip. As I was going alone, I planned to make it a sightseeing only trip and not drink or go out because I felt that I wouldn't be safe. Super smart. I booked an inexpensive Airbnb and was happy to have found an affordable deal for accommodation. I'm a student and I'm trying to do everything as cheap as I can. So here's where my problem begins. And so often it does with money. I booked with a male host in Prague who had pretty good reviews on the site, and he accepted my offer quickly. It was £81 for a 3-night stay that I booked a week in advance, so I was happy for a cheap and relatively central location. The host seemed friendly, but I was a little turned off by the fact that he sent a winky face in a message to me. Hi, I won't say her name. I'm looking forward to hosting you. Keep in touch on WhatsApp. Smiley winky face. Not a huge deal, but something in my gut made me feel a little weird. I should have listened. I cannot tell you what a huge red flag a winky face is in a text or online correspondence with someone that you have never fucking met. Huge red flag. Everyone, this is a PSA. A winky face. Do not use it lightly.
Every time I got a winky face before I met the person from a guy, it's only guys. Girls don't do that to other girls. It ended up being a situation, and I'm not exaggerating.
I have never gotten a winky face from a stranger and then been like, man, this person is great and has no ulterior motives.
I wonder what they're doing tonight. I'm going to hang out with them.
Oh, a winky face should just be a dick creeping towards your pussy.
Yep.
That's what it should just be, a picture of you with an X
might as well be
over your pussy and then a dick trying to creep
And just
in.
So you guys know, men, that's what I think of it. That's what I see anyway.
Do not
when you
use
send
that
a winky face
in any professional fucking back and forth.
Fucking
do not use it. All right.
Anyway.
Back to the story. So I get to Prague pretty late in the evening and get settled in. My host was very communicative and accommodating, but left me this note in my room that opened with, quotes, "Hi, likable girl." I will. Okay, there's a language barrier here, though. So sometimes people in other languages say things in English that seems weird.
I know.
It seems weird. I'm not defending, but I'm just saying that
you're right. You're absolutely right.
You know, and that's what's weird about language. You know, I don't
different
know.
cultures too, and yeah, I get it.
And also, different cultures have different like standards for treating men and women interaction too. Yep. So that's super confusing. He gave me info about the flat and had not violated me. Maybe that would have been less of a big deal, but looking back, I feel gross by it. Okay, well, we're skipping ahead in this email. I assume he accepted my request on the sole basis that he was attracted to me. Yeah, maybe like take an unflattering picture. I don't know. How can we stay safe? Anyway, back to the sequence of events. So next day, I'm chatting with him in the morning, and he helps me get to town and shows me some of the sites. I don't speak any Czech, so it was helpful, and I appreciated it. He also showed me his other Airbnb property that he was running in the heart of Prague, where I met an English couple he was hosting. After that, he went off to work, and I did my thing. I walked all over the city, and by the end of the day, I was exhausted, and my phone was nearly dead. When I was about to head home, I got a text from my host saying he'd left his keys to the house in the other flat and asked if he could use mine to get into his flat that I was staying in. I said, of course, and was kind of glad that I could get some help going back because my phone was dying and I was a bit confused on how to get back to the Airbnb flat I was staying in with the host. We head back and are chatting, and then I decide I'm going to rest for a while, which turns into me deciding to call it a night. He had to go out to run some errands and take care of stuff at his other flat, so I was hanging out in my room, aka the private room that I had paid for. The host finally gets back and we're still chatting, and then he comes into my room and sits on an L-shaped sofa that's in there. I'm at a desk chair and we were talking about a bunch of stuff. Relationship comes up. Another red flag. But I'm trying to make it clear that I'm not down for something to happen with him. Eventually, I say to him that I'm very tired and going to shower and get ready for bed, thinking that's enough of a cue for him to retire to his room as well, as it should be for anyone who knows any kind of social etiquette. I go off and shower and come back to find him in his pajamas, still in my room on the couch. I'm kind of puttering around in my room at this point, tidying things up and getting my outfit ready for the next day and not really talking. To me, all clear signs he needed to leave me alone in the space that I am paying for. Absolutely, girl. But no, he then invites me to a friend's wedding he's going to the next day. And I politely decline, which leads him into trying to convince me to go. So clearly, no is not a word in his vocabulary. Okay, absolutely. I still decline. And he sort of drops it, but not really. Then I unlock my phone and check something and leave it on the table while I go to brush my teeth because I'd forgotten to. I come back to find him fucking around on my Tinder and messaging guys to bring over food to the house because he thinks that's funny. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? That's a major privacy violation. And I don't like that you did that. And now I have to message these guys not to come over. Okay, now it's getting real weird.
Fucking idiot.
The host just laughs, and now I'm pissed. Oh, okay. So not respecting your feelings. Noted. I'm sitting at the other end of the couch, and the host is on the long part of the L shape. He suggests we watch something, and I'm kind of thinking like, I was going to watch TV anyway. Maybe if we watch something and then briskly shut the laptop off, that will be a bigger signal for him to leave. Since I feel weird saying, get the fuck out of my room that's in your house, but it's one I'm paying for. I already said I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. Good night. Stop touching my phone, etc., etc. Anyway, I turn on a TV show and sit literally as far away as humanly possible. He keeps inching closer, and I'm like off the couch to avoid touching him. He doesn't try to pull an obvious move, but it's like, dude, not interested. So the show ends, and I close my computer and tell him good night. I'm going to bed. See you in the morning. The host is still in my room and is now going to sleep on the couch there. At this point, I'm like, Jesus, okay, well, at least I can sleep. Still freaked out about him being in there, though. Then he gets up to, quote, close the window and is sort of lingering by my bed and eventually asks, can I get in? And after much hesitation, I sighed and said, sure. Thinking, I guess if I make out with him, he'll leave me alone. Of course, it immediately goes to sex without a condom. Although I protested it several times / said no, but he ignored me and just penetrated me while I was on my stomach. It was creepy and awful and violating. To be honest, I felt really trapped. I was in a city where I didn't know anyone, in a house that didn't belong to me, alone with no one else there but the host, who is 6'4" and triple my size. I kind of felt like this is bad, but I had to take the loss because I knew that if I'd really put up a violent fight, it could have ended badly with me being injured, brutally raped, or killed. I had no idea if he had a weapon in the house or something. We were on a quiet, isolated street. It was in an apartment building, so maybe neighbors would have heard screaming, but I'm not sure. So I let him fuck me, and it felt so gross, but he didn't seem to notice that, or he did and didn't care. The next day, I kind of tried to rationalize it in my head that it was some crazy travel hookup, which I have had, and they were fun because they were consensual. The host was texting me all the next day and was chatty via WhatsApp, and I was nice back. But the more I thought about it, the more sick and dirty I felt. I kept thinking of everything I could have done to stop it. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, was molested by an uncle ages 4 to 6, was the first victim to tell about it, and that revealed that said uncle was a serial rapist. Lots of guilt and shame around why me? Why didn't I tell the first time it happened, et cetera, et cetera. So the Prague Airbnb host made me feel disgusting and then brought back a lot of PTSD flashbacks for me because it's like, why didn't I stop this? Why did I let him fuck me? I said yes to him getting in my bed. I left him a nice review because I was like in a blur after this happened. I feel like if I report it to Airbnb, I'll be penalized because I consented to him getting into the bed. I've been through the hell of taking legal action against a sexual predator, and honestly, I would not do it again. I hate to say that, but it's as traumatic, if not more so, than the assault itself because you don't stop reliving it, and our trial was particularly long and ugly. 10 years to get a serial child rapist into jail with so many horrible moves by the defense attorney and my dad's family basically attacking my mother. As in, when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, the pedophile's mother heard it through the grapevine and was funding the pedophile's legal action. So also helped fund the DA sending my mother flowers with a note saying, "Ooh, you deserve to get cancer, bitch."
Oh my God.
Thanks, justice system. So I guess I want some advice on what to do going forward. Do I report this host? Do I never use Airbnb again? Share my story publicly so people know that hosts are using Airbnb for predatory behavior. If I'm paying to stay in someone's goddamn house, I shouldn't have to worry about being sexually assaulted. It's insulting and violating and traumatic on so many levels. Help. Thanks for reading. I would really appreciate your insight. Girl.
Every time I read that email, when I read it, I think I was driving back with Steven, I was like yelling. He goes, "What?" I'm like, "Nothing. Shut up. I'm reading this."
Yeah.
And then when you were reading it just now, oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, there's we wanted to read this email for a lot of reasons. I think it's a great. We need to have a very active conversation about consent. Yep. Number one, I think it's summertime. A lot of you probably traveling, and I certainly would not. It pains me that young women wouldn't be traveling by themselves because they have to be scared. Traveling is one of the most amazing things you can do. It helps you learn about yourself. It helps you learn about other people. If you have the money and the means to do it, it is one of the best parts of life, in my opinion. With that being said, this is a fucking horrific story. And she mentions a lot of times like that you were paying for it. Fuck that you were paying for it. You're a fucking human being, and this is not the way to treat another human being.
Your space was being violated. That was your room. And Corinne and I had a conversation about like, this email really, it perfectly highlights like all of these instances where I feel like, I know she had said no to certain things, but she was being a little... Right. And I have done that with guys before, and I wind up and I end up after the sex going, what the fuck? So these experiences are so valuable because you go back and you tally up what can I learn from this?
Mm-hmm. And this is not, I know a lot of times people like to be like, you're victim blaming. No. We don't want to victim blame. We want to arm you guys with tools that make you fucking unbreakable, unbeatable. This is a self-fucking defense class. We say it all the time. It would be great if we lived in a world where we didn't have to worry about being raped. But guess what? You do have to worry about being raped. But I don't want you to stay in your house locked up because you're afraid of being raped. That's insane. And that's letting the patriarchy win. Dicks everywhere. And also this shit can happen to dudes too. I mean, we exchanged plenty of weird stories. But there is, with the woman-man thing, there is that physicality that it as something that just traditionally men are bigger and stronger than women. And that's a huge problem.
One thing that I have learned that I have picked up after experiences where I have kind of been like, I guess. And then when you got to the part like where she was like, and then I let him fuck me, even though I said use a condom and he didn't. I get so angry with myself for doing just that. And I got so angry hearing it. But now what I've done in the past, past 5 years I've been in a relationship, but then being single or even being approached at a bar. Yeah. If a guy is annoying me and I go into a space because I'm meeting my friend for her birthday and some guy goes, what's your name? Well, I'm like, buddy, no. Yeah. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. And even a lot of times they'll be like, okay, cool. I'm very direct. You don't have to. I think she said in her email, I didn't want to be like, get the fuck out of my room. I paid. You don't have to say, get the fuck out of my room. You could say, hey, I'm tired and I want you to leave my room, please. Yeah. That's it. That's all you got to say. Yeah. You don't have to be. It's like it's either one extreme or the other. You be so coy that he doesn't get the message, or you think, okay, the other option is to be an asshole. No, you can be middle ground and just state, this is what I want. Can you please leave?
Yeah, because I don't think Airbnb hosts, and I'm sure there's a policy written somewhere on the fucking website, I don't think they should be trying to hit on or have sex with people who are staying in their home at all. No. But humans will be humans, and just the same way as you're not supposed to
fucking assistants.
Yeah, you're not supposed to fuck your coworkers. People end up married to their coworkers all the time. Yeah. Like, it just happens. And so you can't fault someone for trying, but this guy certainly to me does seem like someone who is a predator in that he's luring in young, attractive girls. I think there certainly is that kind of stereotype about American women being looser. You're an American woman.
A lot of guys from other countries have told me that. I'm like, oh shit, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have a sex positivity that that's flourishing right now in the country that's just not happening in other cultures. Or there's cultures like Italy where we're so fucking far behind them. Right. So there's different things going on here. And the first time I was reading this, I was just like, oh, this wasn't rape. But reading it again, once someone's having sex with you and you've said no, you've protested, then it turns into rape.
Well, it's so funny because you and I were talking about that. Yeah. Like, I don't know, was it rape? And then when you read it, now he penetrated you and you said put on a condom. Yeah, he penetrated you with his bare penis.
Now it's rape. So it's and I think there's a misconception that rape is a guy jumping out of the bushes and taking you and fucking sticking his penis in you. But oftentimes rape is when something starts in a sexual way and then goes further than one of the parties wanted and the other person doesn't respect their wishes. Yep. That is often what rape is. So this is, you said no, and there's just, the whole story is filled with instances of him not respecting you, your properties, or your feelings.
Yeah. And I had something had happened in the comedy community, and then rape was a subject that we were all talking about
all weekend.
Yep.
Rape Fest 2016.
So my best friend had started texting me and we were talking about it, and I said, this one past relationship years and years and years ago, a boyfriend of mine, it's so weird. I remember one night had been dating for a year or so, 2 years, whatever. Nicest. Oh God, I love him. I love him. But there was one instance where we were both drinking.
Oh, I remember the story.
He was drunker. Have I told on the podcast before?
Yeah, but wow.
Shit. Sorry guys. Where he was on top of me, I was laying on my stomach, and he stuck his penis in my ass. And I said no, and I actually pushed him off, and he kept going. He kept sticking his dick in my ass, and I was like, "Are you?" And I tried to physically use all the strength I could to get him off, and then after minutes of pushing, he got it. And then the next morning, I talked to him about it. I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he was crying. He felt awful. He didn't know why. But it's weird because, like you said, rape is not just a guy in the bushes sneaking out. There are also varying levels.
There's so much gray area.
And there's gray areas, and no one wants to talk about that or say that there's gray areas but there are.
Yeah, because people are like, it's either rape or it's not. And then me and James were talking. I'm like, I think we've both raped each other multiple times by some of these standards. Like, I don't even know what the fuck to say.
I know. That's why the gray area stuff gets so weird. And like in that instance, I wasn't going to go to the, that was a very specific instance of me and him talking about it and him realizing and he never did anything like that again or before.
Yeah, in your relationship. And it's so hard in relationships because if you think rape
you can get raped in a relationship, absolutely.
If you think rape can't happen in a relationship, you're incorrect. However, I think there are also times you can't, you're not gonna just go running around yelling rape to your boyfriend or your girlfriend.
Of course.
So I think something like that is like, that's a conversation where you go, when I say no, I really meant no, and we weren't playing, and I know we were drunk, and that made me feel awful, and that can never happen again. This, is obviously there's no relationship here.
This guy is predatory.
This man is a predator.
Gross.
He's, I'm sure he's probably using, the language and cultural barrier to his advantage. And it's hard because I think in this story, you're like thinking of all these bad things that could happen while you're letting a bad thing happen.
I know. I've done that so many. And I've done that.
No one's saying that you can fight a 6'4" man. Absolutely. I mean, I think the first thing is we, especially as women, I think a lot of times we don't follow our guts because we're like, oh, I'm just worrying, or I'm just, no.
I always doubt myself.
You're very smart. You know yourself, and you know when something feels bad, it's probably going to be bad. So I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is, I think you're really smart with your traveling, researching and not drinking. You did so many things so fucking right. And it was great. But when you're, you make sure that you always have like a phone that's working, because phone and finances and things like that, like anytime you become someone who needs help, unfortunately, people fucking take advantage of that. Yeah. And so I think in a situation like that, just like Christina said, you have to say what you mean. And then if it escalates from there, I think, you can follow your instinct. It's just so hard. I mean, everywhere you're traveling, you definitely know how to contact the police, and maybe in a place like this where you're dealing with a host, maybe it's better to just stay in like a cheap motel or a hostel where you're with other young people and there's someone at the front desk who you can run to, something like that.
I have a couple more points about this. One, I if you could delete that review, that positive review left him, and write an actual, if I'm a traveling young girl, to do a bitch a favor and tell me that he's creepy.
100%.
I would put that review on. And the other thing is, it's interesting because I wonder if he walks away from this because she didn't physically push him off, or she didn't freak out enough for him to notice. If I can see how these situations happen where the guy's like, but she wanted it.
Right.
Sometimes a guy's a fucking liar, or he's a narcissist, or he's in denial because he knows it's not the case. But
absolutely,
in this particular case, that guy's probably going to see that review and go, wait, what?
Right.
And be confused. And it's like, when you feel that the second, maybe it's because of I'm getting older, or because I have been in this girl's shoes in similar situations, and I look back and I get so angry, and it's like, how the fuck can I not let this ever fucking happen again? The second I feel uncomfortable with a man, I get myself out of the situation very calmly, and I just say, hey, you need to go. I'm going to go home. Okay. Don't do anything to escalate, or just neutrally get out of the situation the second you feel uncomfortable. Is just such an important gut instinct to develop.
Yeah, say something weird, like I need to go get tampons, and like take your fucking purse. And I think this is why it's important, I think, to have something like always have a credit card or whatever, and check yourself into a fucking motel. It's going to be it's going to put you over budget 100, but that's why you have a credit a credit card. A credit card is, when you don't have money, is for emergencies, and something like this is an emergency. And I promise you, so often I see young people like fucking worrying about money. I'm not saying go out and buy $1 million home that you can't
be responsible.
But as far as your safety, if you need a fucking cab, don't nickel and dime your safety. A friend will fucking Venmo you. Your parents will take pity on you. If it's like $50, $200, you can get that. Fucking email me. I'll Venmo you the goddamn money. Like, I really, really mean that. Everyone don't Venmo me at once, but like,
quick, I got $1,000 you said on the podcast.
Yeah, it's your safety is not worth $200 $200.
Yeah.
You will never think about that $200 ever again. You will think about something like this a lot.
And even when we've been broke and stuff, I've thought like $200 is the biggest amount of money, and I couldn't even imagine having that in my bank account. But if you know somebody who has the means, a family member, a friend, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not much to them.
You will figure, I promise you will figure the money thing out. And then secondly, you absolutely need to write Airbnb. I'm hoping that someone who works for Airbnb is actually listening right now. If you are not, you absolutely email them. This is a huge, was not terrible that it happened to you. We cannot have this happen to anybody else. This man should not be allowed to be renting out space to anyone. He has 2 different flats, you said, that he's renting out to people. Not acceptable. This is you. I think that this podcast is this is just terrible things happening to people, and like us trying to use those terrible experiences for good. That's like what the whole thing is.
So it wasn't starting out as that, but now it is.
No, I mean it was. I mean, not as terrible at this, but you know, that's what you can do. That's a way I feel that I always try to salvage something bad that's happened to me, is to be like, well, at least let's not have this happen to anybody else. So let's fucking talk about it. Airbnb, fuck, if they say anything, let's fucking tell us. I'll fucking go down to the office myself.
I'm verified on Instagram, motherfucker.
What the hell are you talking about?
I love Airbnb, but
and we've had great experiences with them, and I just hated this. Don't let this ruin traveling for you, and fucking stay with women. Women own houses.
I know.
I see lots of, we stayed with a lovely woman in Los Angeles. We loved her. She left us fresh fruit. It was great.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also, if you're experiencing PTSD, definitely, I think you should try to sit down with a counselor. I'm sure your university has someone, at least, if you're short on cash, that you can talk to about this, because this shouldn't be bringing up old things and fucking ruining traveling for you. Fuck that guy.
Our guest. Speaking of great people.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I think she's an intelligent woman. She's in the process of understanding herself, as we all are. She's a wonderful comedian and a writer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Janelle James.
Controlling my condition, controlling mine. You decide on my addiction, my only divine. You have chosen my opinion, I recite it twice. You decided my addiction was just sweet and fine. You can be so hard on yourself. You can be so hard on my health. So hard.
We are here with Janelle James.
Yay!
She was.
I didn't know it was gonna start. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and we will do the intro separately. We just like to get our guests in and out.
Oh, okay.
Not waste
Sweet.
your time. Just jump right into your life.
So you were telling us before I pressed record about stalkers, and you've only had one stalker that made you scared.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So when I first started comedy, I think I was about 3 years in, and they had a guy. He wrote me. At that time, I didn't have a website, because I guess it's different than now when everybody just immediately has a website.
Right.
So he wrote me, and he was just like, "Where's your website? You people should know about you." And when you start, you're like, fans, yay, So I was going back and forth talking to him, like, "Oh, thanks," and. So he would write me periodically, and then he mentioned that his daughter worked for Airwolf. I don't know if that still exists.
Oh, it's a podcast network. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter worked for Airwolf. So I remembered that, and he was like, I could introduce you to my daughter, and you could probably do it. And I was just like, oh no, that's okay. And it just like escalated from there. And he's like, I noticed you didn't have a website. So I purchased all these names. Like he sent me a list of
like
things.
he purchased like Janelle domains.
Yeah.
I'm going to marry JanelleJames.com. Wait, what?
And I was like, oh no, I don't really accept gifts from strangers, and it's fine. And I think I went ahead and got a website just to get him like off that tangent. And so I kind of like stopped responding to him. So he started writing me like a weekly letter, like a whole like 5 or 6 paragraph email every week, like on the dot, like he had
On a certain day?
Yeah, just updating me on his life, like went to the store. And I
So
was
you were
just
his
like,
diary. Emails to you were his dear diary.
And so I wouldn't read all of them because I was like, all right, this dude is nuts. And I blocked him on Facebook, and his Facebook page, what really made me afraid was he's like mid-50s white guy with the side part, like a Republican.
Oh, that's not
he
gonna
looks
work.
like
like
a short sleeve button down type of dude, you know. And I was like, those dudes are usually, I mean, not usually, but for
The
him
worst?
to be fixated on me, that type of person, I was like, he's nuts.
Yeah,
So
that can't be good.
I blocked him on there, and he wrote me like, why did you block me? Like, just like, yeah. And so I was like, you're making me uncomfortable. And so I'm not going to like converse with you anymore. I know you're not crazy, but you're making me uncomfortable. And I know you wouldn't want to make me uncomfortable. So let's just, and he just kept writing. So I think that went on for like 6 months. He would write me every week.
Wow.
And so every once in a while I would read like just a bunch of them in at once. And he was like devolving. He was like, like my life's falling apart. My wife is whatever. He started talking about his wife. And then one day he wrote me his wife left him, and but that's okay because it leaves a hole in his heart big enough for me or some shit like that.
I wonder if
And-
she left him because she found all the
Oh
emails.
God,
he wrote.
like my fucking shrine.
Who is Janelle?
My fucking Facebook picture shrine in his bathroom or whatever the fuck.
Oh,
So that's what I was
no.
picturing. So I was like freaking out, like holy shit. And so at that time, he lived in Dallas. He had seen me in Dallas
God he wasn't.
opening.
Oh, you were
Right.
just traveling in Dallas. At
I
the
was
time,
opening
right?
for Rob Delaney. I wasn't even the headliner. Like I was a feature. I only did 15 minutes, and he just like got so fixated on me. And so I was kind of like, okay, whatever. He lives in Dallas. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So after the wife left him, then he wrote me again. He lost his job. And then I was like, okay, I didn't respond. And then he says he's moving to Maryland. Isn't that close to New York where you are? And that like freaks me out.
Yeah.
Get a map, dude.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah, he's a dumbass for many reasons. One
Right.
being, or he's playing dumb. Isn't
Right.
Dad on the United
My new
States
job
too?
is Janelle James fan club.
exactly. He was just I guess trying to play this like I'm so sad and you're the only thing that and I haven't responded to him in months.
Buddy, this is a one-way relationship,
yes,
sir.
exactly.
Well, I mean,
So-
he's listening to this episode right now.
Yeah, he is.
This is years ago, dude.
Sir, you need to calm down and you need to stop what you're doing.
What I've heard is they don't ever stop if he was actually like this type of person. They don't ever stop. They just become fixated on something else. So I always think about that too. Like, I hope he's not bothering something. But what I ended up doing when he said that, I remembered he was like his daughter worked at Airwolf. And so I looked his name up and I found her and I called her in California, and I said, I don't know what's going on with your dad, but he's upsetting me and he's scaring me, and these are the shits he's writing me, and
What'd she
please, like,
say?
I never heard from either one of them again. So.
I'm sure she addressed it because that's
Yeah,
like I would be if a woman emailed me saying
Yeah.
your dad
Well, I
is
didn't say-
stalking me.
Yeah,
basically.
I kind of said it like, I think your dad is in trouble, like not like,
Yeah.
your dad is a fucking psycho.
He must be the daughter must have some clue unless they have no relationship.
Yeah,
that he's a little off or
yeah,
something.
Yeah. So she was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for telling me." Da 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 da. And then I never heard from him since then.
that's
so that
good.
was that guy.
Oh, I wish I was there for that conversation. Dad, stop stalking Janelle.
Well, and also as far as like, being someone in comedy, like she's working in the comedy
Yeah.
industry, like that could seriously affect
Yeah.
her career.
Yeah.
And not that I want to
I wasn't nobody at that time. I still lived in the middle of nowhere, and no, I had just moved to New York by the time it all culminated. But yeah, I was nobody, but-
Yeah, I don't want to give anybody some
And not like I'm
horrible-
anybody now. I don't know.
Yeah,
You're somebody.
not to give anybody any bad ideas, but like I do often think like we list our shows and the addresses and,
And that's
where we'll
what fucked
be
me up.
every
I was
night.
like, my website.
It's a little scary.
Oh, it's a joke. I will always go like, listen, if anyone wants to attack me, I'm super, you can easily accessible.
Exactly. I remember one night I was I was trying to make a joke of it, and I had printed out that last email like, "Oh, don't you live in New York?" And I was reading it on stage at the Creek, and my hand was fucking shaking, and that's what made me call her, because I was like, "Oh shit, I'm scared. Like, this isn't funny." You know what I mean?
So you wanted to read it with the intention of
yeah, like,
right,
look at this guy. I
And
guess
everyone
I'm
was like,
famous now. You know, that type of shit.
Cops.
So yeah.
So that was the only one that got too creepy.
The guys now, I mean, it's mostly online shit. They haven't made any moves to like be in person. Hopefully, thank God, don't do that, people who are listening.
What kind of things they say online? Like
just you could just tell people are weird. Like some guy wrote me the other day, like, "I like wigs. Do you like wigs?" And so what I just like, that's your opener.
Can I make a wig out of your
I'm
scalp?
like, yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. But how I handle it now, I just say, like how I was trying to do with that dude, like, dude, I know you're not nuts. I ain't calling you nuts.
Good move.
Do I need to block you? Because what happens is if you block them from one thing, they follow you to Twitter, follow you to, and I'm like, I will let you stay right here. Just never speak to me again. And usually they're like, okay. So they're still in my friends list or whatever. And I'm like, dude, just chill.
And they back off.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Because, you know, sometimes you got to be direct and they really don't know what they're doing.
But I think women are sometimes like, hi, you know, da, da, da. Right. I just
feel
right
bad.
away like, dude, you creeping me out. Don't ever speak to me.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's going to be a problem.
Well,
you know what I mean?
you have to be direct like that because a lot of times they're not going to get it. They're not going to come to that conclusion on their own, certainly.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, you know, a lot of people with like mental issues out here, including myself. So, hey,
yeah,
whatever.
me too. We were all fucking. What are your mental issues?
You know, I'm not diagnosed, but
me either. But
you know, I'm all the comedian cliches, depression, fucking. I've had lots of what's the word? Shit that's just like buried. You know, you know,
you
that
just
type
sweep under the rug forever, and then one day it explodes, and you're like,
well, who knows? But every time I don't cry, shit like that. You know what I mean?
You don't cry?
Never. Yeah.
When's the last time you've cried?
I thought you were gonna go. Shh, I don't talk.
Probably. Oh, when my dad died, like, so that's like 5 years ago now.
Damn.
Okay. Well, that's not good that he died, but that's good that you cried at least. Because I mean, there are sometimes
even that took me a while. I was at the funeral, like I didn't even, you know.
Well, that's a
and
shock.
even then,
I would
like
think.
I have there's 8 of us that I have 8 siblings, and like none of us cry. Like we all like silently cried like behind our sunglasses.
Do you think there was something about how you were raised that made you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So were you not allowed or encouraged not to show emotion?
Well, you know, my dad was abusive and stuff, and so I remember. Damn, I'm getting real deep, real early here.
Welcome to the Guys Who Fuck podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't mind. Like this is like new that I can even talk about this shit. So I guess, you know, once you can, you're like, I'm telling everybody.
Telling the world.
This is why I'm fucked up. My dad was super abusive. So I remember at one point being like, I'm just not going to cry anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
would he hit you when you cried?
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
there you go.
Like I'm not even gonna give you that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that was like that. Okay, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing that you're hurting me.
And so that was part of it. And then he was also like a super macho kind of don't cry dude. Like he don't cry, and like we're like our whole family, as far as my siblings and my dad, because he raised us, the kids, we were all really like stoic. Like work, like we had a family business. We would work and sleep and get up, and you know, it's no room for crying. You know what I mean? Or
it was like a boot camp,
almost. Yeah.
So he was physically abusive. Was he mentally?
Oh yeah, everything.
I mean, that's.
I think. What did I read? I forget what it's called, but they say like the worst form of child abuse is where you're like physically and emotionally abusive, and then the next day you're like, I love you, like that type of shit. So that type of shit. I think my dad was bipolar. Yeah, is what it was. He would have like really like manic moments where he was just horrible, and then also one of those people where, you know, like abusers where everyone is like, he's great. Like everyone loved my dad.
So that made you feel uncomfortable being like, no,
am I crazy?
Not.
You know?
Well, my mom was bipolar, and she would scream at me for something I didn't even do when I was 3. And then she would like hug me and braid my hair. And I was like, wait,
Yeah, and so they say that fucks you up even more than if you were just continuously abusive.
Right, because you don't know what to expect
What to
every day. And so
expect.
I mean, that gives like, I haven't had a family member like that, but I had teachers certainly
Yeah,
like that. And like, even that like little bit of
Yeah.
anxiety, like,
It's horrifying.
yeah, or even like you
You're
have a
on
friend.
eggshells.
You're like, I don't
Yeah.
even never know what to expect. Like, at least if you have like a mean person in your life, you're like, well, this person's always
Yeah, he's an
just
asshole.
a
but-
dick.
That's so interesting because you turned it into I don't want to give you the power of knowing you're upsetting me, and I turned it into like I will please anybody around me ever. All the like I turned into a people pleaser.
You even choose,
Yeah.
it's both fucked up, So, but the flip side of that, what I've been realizing, it almost gives you powers too, because I feel like I can spot assholes and like mentally ill people like immediately. I can spot like fake. That the people who
You
are
can see
like
through what-
everybody loves them. Da, 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 da. I can see that fucking asshole like right away. I just like I can smell that shit. So I don't know if that was like, oh, I had to go through that in order to have this fucking power.
Well,
and
it
that's a
definitely
good thing. But
gave you that perspective, and then you don't go down a road with somebody, and then you find out
I've
months,
avoided a
years
lot
later,
of shit.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
This whole fucking time you were psycho, and I didn't see it.
Yeah. So,
Damn.
Yep.
And then how long have you been a comedian?
This is 8 years now. 8, yeah, going into my 8th year.
And
or
before
7.
you were
I don't
comedian-
count. It seems like forever.
Yeah.
You were a dominatrix.
So, okay, I've been a lot of things.
Do
But that
tell.
is what everyone is always interested in.
okay.
So that's fine.
What other things have you been? I mean,
I worked in fashion design for 6 years. I was a pattern maker, and I worked in fashion PR.
You love the hardest businesses.
Yeah, like just with the
You're a
hardest
hard-ass
businesses,
worker.
with the most horrible people.
yeah. I was gonna say PR, and then the fashion
And
world.
in fashion,
Ooh.
yes. I was like, fashion people sucks. I'm gonna be a comedian.
It's gonna
Where-
be great.
Where in the order of jobs was the dominatrix?
First, so
Okay.
this is my second time doing New York. I moved here. I moved.
Janelle
here.
does New York.
I know, right? I moved here, and when I was 19, and I was going to FIT. I told my mom I was going to FIT, but I hadn't got in. But I just totally
Wishful thinking.
lied. Yeah,
Did you get denied?
I got denied.
Oh.
It was supposed to be me and my friend. She convinced. I didn't even know what I wanted to do in my life, but she was like, "We like clothes," and so I was like, "Okay." And I knew
Going
how
to
to.
FIT, Janelle.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
was
most
like,
18-year-olds, 19-year-olds
you know what I
decide their
mean?
career.
I was very into fashion. I like sewed and all, and all that shit. And so I was like, okay. So we both applied, and she got in, and I didn't get in. And so she was like, I'm moving, and I was like, well, fuck, you ain't gonna leave me here. So I told my mom I got in. I told my boyfriend at the time that I got in.
And where were you coming from?
Maryland.
Maryland. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maryland with the stalker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you tell your friend, look, I know I didn't get in, but I told everybody I did.
not
Shut the
only-
fuck up.
I not only told her that, I left before her. I came up here because she then, this is still a thing with me. I mean, we're not close friends anymore, but she started like, oh no, I have to like start a semester late because I still have stuff to like handle down here. Like I got to sell my car and all this. And I was like, well, I'm going. And so I'll find an apartment. And because once I get some shit in my head, I'm like, let's go. So I came up here, I found an apartment. And then I started being like, can you send me your pay stubs? We got to do like deposit. Da, 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 da. I paid it, but can you pay me back? Long story short, she never came.
Oh, what a bitch.
Oh
She
my
met a
God.
dude. She had met a dude down there. Had 3 kids.
She never went to FIT.
She never even went.
trade
And so
the
I
acceptance
got in.
letters? I was gonna say, I was like, just call
I
yourself
know.
by
Well,
her
no.
name.
What happened was I got in like the following year. I just
Oh, good.
reapplied, but yeah, she never. And so now when I talk to her like through Facebook and stuff, she's like, "Remember when?" I'm like, "Bitch, you lost your chance." Like it's
Yeah.
just that's a different life now. Like
Wonder, is she doing good? Like, is she glad?
she's like some born again Christian bullshit now.
Oh,
You know how that
God.
goes.
So you fucking
Yeah.
you got out,
Wow.
Like she had a rough time with that dude. Like he was a fucking idiot, and
Aw.
and then she had them kids. Once you got the kids, it's like it's
You're-
done. You're done.
You're glued to
So,
'em, yeah.
yeah.
So where was it when she didn't pay you back that you were like, shit, I gotta.
So, oh God, I was so broke the first, many of us are when you come to I was so broke. I panhandled, but I was very well dressed.
Are you panhandled? See, I almost debated. Like, I'm like, what happens if I just have a sign and I just
Well,
sit
here's
here?
what I tell you. The better you look, the more money people will give you.
Really?
And it's real.
Oh,
that
it's
was
fucked
really, what's the word? Enlightening, I guess.
Wow.
Because I mean, like I said, I was always in a fashion. So I remember this like duster leather coat, like Matrix type, like buttery ass, you know, when you were in high school, you had your high school job, all your money went to clothes type shit. So I was like the best dressed panhandler. And I would just like ask guys in suits like, hey, I lost my wallet or whatever, and they would just give me like $50.
Oh, so
$50?
Yeah.
Well, because you had like a story, that, like something happened,
and I didn't look like a
right. Instead
like
of
a homeless
I need
person.
a nickel. Yeah. You're like, no, I lost this. I need to get somewhere.
But
Shit, I had an inkling it would work. I wish I did it.
But that was very. I mean, I'm super prideful. That was like, I have nothing. That's when I would do that. But I would sleep on a train. You know.
Wow.
Damn.
I had met some guy. I don't know. You guys are young, but I don't know if you remember "Want to Be a VJ."
Yeah, absolutely.
On MTV?
So I had on MTV. They used to have
I
a
wanted
audition
to be a
process.
TRL
or
and
something?
submitted many videos.
They used to. Well, what they used to do is have like a cattle call where you come up
In
and
Times Square?
stand outside. So before I moved here, I had stood outside in that line and I met like all these people while we were in line for like 11 hours. So I would bounce around to all those people like, remember me? We met on Want to Be a VJ. I was like, stayed with dudes I didn't know. This Italian guy named Mike, y'all never forget him. He like let me crash on his couch. His girlfriend was so mad. He's like, no, she's cool. And
Did you meet him in line for Want to Be a VJ?
I met him in line for Want to Be a VJ.
Amazing. That's the fun thing about New York, though. I feel like if you have that like work ethic that you
It
definitely
works
have,
out.
you can figure it out always.
I was like, I'm not going home as a failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going back to Maryland, you know? So yeah, I worked it out. And then I got a job at a hair salon in the fashion district, Marc Jacobs. I think it's still there,
Ooh.
but it was so crazy. But all
Marc
the girls,
Jacobs hair salon?
that's just what it was called.
Oh.
It's not that dude.
it was like MARK.
No, was it Marc
Mark
Jacobs?
was a K.
No. I may be saying it wrong. Mark and
I was like, he designs
Mark and
clothes.
it's two guys. No, it was two guys.
Mark and Jacob.
something like that.
Ray Moore and
but
Flanagan
it's like
Slums.
West 40th, right in the fashion district. It has nothing to do with Marc Jacobs, the designer. So sorry.
okay.
But it was just like a den of drama, and like all the women who worked at Vogue and
Oh, God.
and Elle and
It was
all
like
those
Tabitha's
magazines.
salon makeover,
In
but
style,
real life.
it was like all the manicurists were Russian. They would always be fighting, and their boyfriends would show up. And the waxer lady was sleeping with one of the owners, but his wife was the receptionist. It was like all type of shit. But there also was a girl who I befriended. I was a receptionist, and she was a dom.
Okay.
And she was like, "You would be great." That we like would talk and I was like, oh, that's super interesting. Da, da, da. And I had a friend there who was also a hairdresser. This makes me seem so old, but she would do phone sex.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Don't people still do that?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Do those numbers still
I've seen
exist?
an ad.
I mean, I feel like they do because there's still like people who like an old school way.
I
Of
guess.
getting
I've
off.
seen when I go home to my parents in Pennsylvania and I'm watching TV late, there's always
They're still
there's
up?
an
Okay.
ad with a,
Okay.
you want to call me and
Right.
hang out?
I thought that went away. But
Well, there's that great movie like Girl Number 9 or whatever it is. Like I love that movie.
Yeah. Girl 6.
Girl Number 6. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, whatever it is. I was like,
6,
it's
9.
a number, and I love it.
So I would crash with her sometimes, and so she would be doing the phone sex, and we would do it together sometimes. Like, oh, there's two girls here, and all that stuff. So I was like into the whole. I'm one of those people. I want to do everything. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, what's that about? Let me see. Da da da. So this girl was like, yeah, I'm a dom. I was like, what's that about? She's like, come down, and meet the people who run it. They have like almost like an apprentice. It's not an apprenticeship, but you
Like an intern.
You
like
get
a dom
training.
intern.
No, you get
Well,
training.
I would have
And but you so here's what people don't realize: you have to then buy all your things. You know what I mean? Like, so people think
Your
I just
corset and
become a
stuff?
dom. It's a lot of money invested in it, and you pay for your training, you pay for your outfits. And one of the benefits of working in a dungeon is they have the equipment and stuff. But if you want to then move and do your own thing, you
Like
have to
house
buy
calls.
all of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's super hard and a lot of work is what I really want to get out of every time I talk about this. Because there's a lot of women who think that this is something they want to do, and it's not
for a quick
not
buck.
as easy, and it's not as sexy as people might think it is too.
Interesting.
So,
How is it? Yeah, I'm curious as how it's not as sexy because I look at it as so
I mean,
sexy.
I'm not the one getting off, so how is that sexy for me?
Do you?
know what I
Did
mean?
you ever enjoy it? Did you ever?
Yeah,
arouse?
I mean, I've always. So why the girl said I was good? I've always had like a dominant personality. I'll have male energy. People have told me, I don't know what that means, but
Well, it makes sense because I mean, I was thinking when you were kind of raised not to be allowed to have emotions, it's very similar
so
to how
I guess people
men
sense
are
that
raised.
in me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I do act pretty. I guess what the definition of masculine is in some ways. And I have a deep ass voice, so maybe that's it. So what was the question? I'm sorry.
So, well, I was curious as to how it's not sexy, or if
how
you
it's not
got
sexy.
turned on.
Right. Did I get turned on? No. I can't think of one time.
What was, like,
it was
the first-
pleasurable in psychologically.
Did you enjoy bossing men around?
Yeah.
Because part of me, I feel like I would enjoy that a lot.
No, not in a sexual way.
Yeah.
It's like acting. It's a lot of acting, and I mean, like, I like power more than anything. So that's pleasurable. You know what I mean? So like whatever. But that wasn't only in Dom. Whatever I do, I'm like, how could I get to the top of that? That's just my personality. And those are the type of personalities that do well in this. People think like, oh, I'm sexy and I'm a pretty girl. It's a certain type of mentality that you have, or you have to be a really good actress. You know what I mean? And so I did the training. So you have the training for like, and then that's when you decide what you're willing to do. Cause it can go really.
That's
What's the
true.
spectrum? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from light bondage, spanking to I'm gonna shit and this dude is gonna eat it. You know, I did not get into any bodily fluid play.
Yeah,
I did do enemas.
On you or the guy?
Or the guys.
Okay.
They don't touch. So one of the things that interested me in that, it's like sex work without sex for the women.
Yeah.
They don't get to touch us. We aren't penetrated. They are. You know what I mean? So we don't get undressed. They're not allowed to touch us.
Could they touch themselves? Could they jerk themselves off during the
session? But most people, I would say 90% of the dudes do not ejaculate or stimulate their genitals. And it's like different ways to come. You know what I mean? So if you're doing like pain, sadomasochism, where you're doing clamps, like nipple clamps, or that pain is their orgasm. You know what I mean? So they're not looking for it just to come out your dick. You could do that with your wife.
Yeah, I can
at
do that in
home.
the bathroom right now.
Yeah, whatever. You know,
Starbucks.
they're looking for a specific type of feeling, and that's their pleasure.
Wow.
So that's what I mean when I say it's not as sexy as people. People are like, oh,
yeah, that's a good
I'm like
point.
jerking a guy off, or that's what prostitutes or call girls or your girlfriend or whatever, or themselves. Like doms are a specific type of thing that maybe if you went to your wife, she would be like, get the fuck out of here. You know?
So what was the first time doing it? Were you nervous or did it go well?
Yeah, but you hide that shit. And but to go, I mean, I did enjoy the powerful feeling. And so what I ended up like specializing in, like foot play, worship, where they just worship you. Like I like that shit. And
sign
like
me up.
psychological, like basically like berating men.
Well, isn't there also too, I would think, because that is it's a kink of theirs, right? So the power not only feels good, but because at first I'm like, oh, wouldn't it feel good to tell some asshole dude to like blah, blah. But now that you're talking about it, I'm like, it would feel good to give a man enjoys pleasure out of my power.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that I would be happy to give to him.
So here's the other thing. So a lot of women think about it like, oh, I'm in charge. What I've always known, and what I'm glad somebody told me right away, is you're not really in charge. These guys are paying you for a service. You know what I mean? You're not making them do anything. You're still doing what they asked you to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're not really in charge. And it's still a man. It's still dangerous. If he wanted to come out of his submissive, and
Hulk it up and fucking, does that ever happen?
I mean, not to me, but it has happened to other people that I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no one like you don't have like any kind of like security guard
in a dungeon. You do,
but not obviously. Not in a danger,
right?
Was there like a button that you could press, like
there
for
was
old
cameras
people when they fall down?
There was cameras, and there was someone who would watch the cameras.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so.
Oh, wow. So you had surveillance on you in the moment.
This is in this. I worked in two different dungeons. One of them, the last one I did had that. The one before did not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was very rare, but that's just a thought that's always in your head. It's just, it's this man is still paying you to do this. You know what I mean? So, everybody's pretending.
What are some of the more interesting things that you've been asked to do?
I mean, I had a lot of like infantilism.
Like men getting in like
I don't know why I
diapers
can't
and
talk
you
today.
treating them like babies.
Yeah, a lot of people have like repressed shit that happened to them, and they just trying to relive it. And
Is there, what's the conversation like for the guy who wanted to be in a diaper, wanted to be treated like an infant? Does he just fill out a form or check a box on the website?
when they call, they say they ask for it, and then they can ask for a specific type of girl. That was also interesting to find out. I mean, doing that. So I did that for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Just doing that, like, really changed the way I think about myself as a woman and just how. So, for instance, when dudes would call in, what kind of woman do you want? You would think, I would have thought, tall, pretty, skinny, da-da-da. The range of shit that men used to ask for just really shows you, like, there's not
one type of
mold
perfection
for,
like
for women that
like
we're
the
all
media tells
gailing
me.
to, like we're
Yeah.
all like aspiring to, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
everyone is somebody's thing, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So they would call and say what they want and also what type of woman, and then hopefully one of us like
filled that.
did that and was comfortable with doing that, and then you get your regulars.
Do anybody like fall in love with you or like just?
Well, so with the worship stuff, I mean, I guess they think they're in love with you. I mean, I'm an adult now and I know what love is, so I know that's not.
What does the guy say when he pays to worship you?
I don't understand. They don't
Like,
hand you money.
Are you worshiping? He's worshiping you.
Like,
Uh-huh.
in what ways does he worship?
Yeah,
you?
like
does-
how-
Oh, okay. So
what does it
like, so with
say?
foot shit, they just worship your feet. They rub your feet.
Do they don't
rub-
say anything. I'm thinking of worship
No,
like
you
you
talk.
look so pretty today. I don't know.
No. It's just they worship you by just doing what you tell them to do. Kneel, crawl. They just want to just be ordered around. You know what I mean? Or some people have like slaves.
Okay.
So that's worship too. Like,
Right.
I'll do whatever you say. I'm just here for you. And then different doms have different things they're comfortable with their slaves doing.
Right,
what I mean?
right.
I'm sure it's chicks getting eaten out if they wanted to, or all that stuff. But I don't want people.
Yeah.
I didn't want anyone touching me. So, and that's part of it. Like, so if they're into God, worship and pain, you tell them to touch you, but they know they can't, and they get pleasure from that. You know what I mean?
Do you like hit them if they try?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah, like touch me, like, so that confusion like turns them on. Like, but you said, what the fuck did I say? You know what I mean? And then
Interesting.
then they touch you, and then you hit them. It's just
I feel like there's so many intricacies to a
So
man's
many.
sexuality.
women too. There were
Women too, but definitely women too. But do
I've
women?
had
I don't know
women.
women. Oh, really? I was going to say, do
Not
women
many, but
pay
I've
for
had-
this? Because there's no service. There are few services out there or put out there for women, for us to call and be like, I want a guy to do this, this, and this very specific thing.
I feel like the more money you make, you'll find out that those things exist.
Oh.
Like
Because women in
anything.
power want to be submissive. Yeah. I think it's just usually like the average woman who does not making a lot of money probably doesn't want to be hit by a dude.
But right, exactly. I
work
feel
at
like
Starbucks and I want this giant man to hit me.
I feel like anything you want exists
Yeah.
to be purchased, but it may not. It's just not as prevalent as men because we haven't been in power as they have for.
I know.
And also I don't want. It wasn't all dudes with. That's another misconception. It wasn't all like powerful dudes with money. Some people would come look like they just saved up, for it. You know what I mean?
For their birthday.
Yeah, like young kids. Jesus, I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
was 12,
but young guys,
Yeah.
21, they're like, this is my first. I just want to try it.
Aw.
A lot of Hasidic Jews.
Yes. What did the
Absolutely.
Hasidic Jewish guy? Was there a string, like a theme to what they wanted, or was everyone different?
Everything. I mean, they were the most.
Kinkiest.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah,
They were?
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
Repression.
Yeah.
That would make me so happy. Be like, yes, come in here and just be whatever you want within
And
these
then-
rules, but also just like
Right.
the freedom to really explore.
Yeah.
That man had, for the first time rarely in his life, freedom to explore his sexuality with someone who was totally open to it as well.
And then sometimes, people would come and they still wouldn't. They would come in and it would take time. It would take more and more sessions because even though they're there, they weren't comfortable saying it. or they didn't know how to express whatever it is, whatever this fantasy was that they wanted. Some people would come. I had this guy, he wouldn't take his sunglasses off because he thought he didn't want to be recognized. I'm like, I don't know who you are, but
Dude, don't worry
Like,
about
that
it.
was
I don't,
just-
not.
I don't care.
so if you can't even take your sunglasses off, you're not going to be able to let go in order to do this thing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't regret doing it. It really like made me mad chill about whatever the fuck anybody want to do. Like, just
Yeah.
do you. You're not hurting anybody. Like, who cares?
And it's I have a friend who does stuff like DOMs like on the side, and she would tell me some stories. I'm like, that's so great that. Because that's why, like, the sex industry, I think it's so stupid that so many, like, it's illegal to. Is it illegal to do that or no? It's maybe it's not
in
'cause
New
there's no
York.
sex.
It's I remember they used to get raided or whatever because sex is illegal. And doms aren't supposed to be having sex with their
Right.
clients, but obviously some dungeons that would be going on. So I guess once people, I don't know how they do it, send in another undercover or whatever, and they find out that
Yeah.
this is happening in this dungeon, and all of them would get raided. Like stuff like that
Wow.
would happen. I don't know what's happening now. I know dungeons still exist, but I think less because more girls are doing like cam work and
Yeah,
at home stuff, which
they
I
can
am
do it from their
like,
couch.
yeah, I don't.
That
I
doesn't
don't-
sound appealing.
That doesn't sound appealing, and it sounds dangerous to me.
Cam?
Yeah,
Well-
or just even having people in your house or going to people's houses. Like,
Oh, yeah, no.
I'd rather be in a place. And
Facility that's meant for that. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do dumb shit now anyway, but that's when I was, 21 and like, fuck it,
21. No, that would open my eyes up and really I feel like it would make me appreciate a male's sexuality and understand the spectrum of sexuality in general, just because like when I was young, I was too afraid to ask for certain things, or I had kinks that I didn't really tell anybody because I felt embarrassed by them or like they were weird. And it's nice to hear about men that are
I
just
don't
so
know
open.
if I feel I don't know if they're open. They're still hiding it.
That's true.
But
Maybe they want to keep it there. I don't know.
I don't know if I feel sorry for, like, they brought it on themselves a lot. A lot of repressed male sexuality or them policing each other. Like, we don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, that's true. I don't do anything weird. Fuck you.
Right, that type of shit.
Where
So-
you going, Dan? Nowhere.
Do you feel like your race played a role in like any of
Oh
the
yeah,
kink-
Daph.
you know, I was,
People
I
would
was
call, I want a
thinking-
black girl to
Yeah.
yell at me, I'm
And
like,
were you
hell
cool?
yeah.
Yeah.
We girl to yell at me.
We've gotten some interesting emails about race play, and I'm like, whatever. If you both people like it,
Yeah.
Then they
Yeah,
like
I
it.
mean, how much
But
am I
that's
going
up
to
to
reveal
the-
about myself
to
on
the
this?
person, that's up to you as an individual and your
I
partner.
mean, all that shit is just the taboo is sexy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So, I've been with white guys and that does cross your fucking mind. Like, this is like, holy shit. I mean, of course, ain't nobody calling me no nigga or shit like that.
I was gonna say no one did that, right?
No, but it is. So, you know how people say like black women really hate that white guys. I mean, that black guys date white women. And
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I dated a white guy that I was like, oh, I get this. The taboo, the mix of skin colors, like it's a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, why? What is the reasoning behind black? Do you not like when a black guy dates a white woman?
I don't care.
Why would that feeling exist? I mean, I kind of I feel like I have an idea.
Okay,
but
that exists, and I don't know. Black men will say that this isn't true, but usually black men justify dating white women because of black women's behavior.
Oh,
that
that's
type of shit.
Absolutely.
So-
That's what you hear. You hear, oh, well, black women are
Yeah.
too mean, too
Right.
aggressive, so I'm going to go.
So that's what we care. Like, do
Yeah,
your
fuck
thing,
that,
but
yeah.
leave me out of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's usually what I would only have a problem with. I don't care where anyone, because nobody's gonna tell me who to date.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
yeah, and you shouldn't have to justify who you want to
Anything,
date. You
yeah.
want to date the person because you fucking want to date them, and that's the end of the story.
Yeah. But that's usually what women have a problem with when,
yeah.
when it does happen.
I didn't realize
So,
that was like the
yeah.
reason that they
Well,
were.
men are men. Across
Yeah.
all color, so if
very
they
true.
keep us fighting amongst each other, then they're just
they're
all
fine.
better off.
I know.
And they become a rare commodity. Like, we all want them, type of shit. But you get older, you don't fall for that shit anymore.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Fuck that. I recognize signs. I get older. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was so naive.
yeah.
So now
yeah.
you said you were raised primarily by your dad. Was there a mom in the picture?
Yeah, my mom. So my dad, because he was nuts. My dad, basically, my mom and him had joint custody, and he just wouldn't honor that.
Oh, so your
shit.
parents were divorced and you lived with your dad?
So yeah, and
That's
my
unique.
mom would come in, and she had weekends, and my dad had like weekdays after school, and she would come on the weekends, and he would be like, "They don't want to go. They don't want to go with you."
Why
like,
would he do that?
Because he's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
And also he wanted he had a restaurant, and like I'm from the islands. My dad had like the first food truck in the Virgin Islands.
Oh, wow.
And then we had multiple food trucks. Then he had a restaurant, and I really feel like he had multiple kids so we could all work for him.
Yeah.
Basically, like
I
he just
need
kept
these
having kids
to run the truck. Okay.
And so
The Von Trapps.
part of us not going with our mother was we had to work. You know what I mean?
Shit.
So all of that was happening, and so how I ended up in Maryland was, my mom isn't gonna listen to this, but whatever. I was just like, should I say it? This is so long ago, but my mom stole us basically and left.
I mean, I would too if I mean,
Yeah.
I totally get that.
We like left in the dead of dawn, got on a plane and moved to Maryland.
Were you amped when your mom was like, I'm going to take you?
I didn't know. She didn't know. So my mom is like my mom is the shit, because at that time, and still am, I used to talk a lot. And I was just always in like grown people's business, and I would like hear one thing and then run to another adult like, this is what I heard, So my mom was dating a guy, had dated a guy that was from Florida that my father was, even though they hadn't been together in forever, that he was very against, and he would like
controlling.
talk shit about, he like fist fought him. It was like a whole thing. And my mom started, and this guy lived in Florida, which is close to St. Thomas. It's like an hour plane ride. My mom started telling me like, we're going to go to Florida. Like, don't say anything, knowing that I would. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah. Let's use
So-
you know.
Yeah. So I was telling my brother, like, we're going to Florida. That's where Disneyland is. And my dad heard us talking. He's like, what are you saying? I'm like, I don't know, man. We might be going to Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know when. And he was like, what? And so then when that happened, like a month later when she took us, my father spent years looking for us in Florida.
Good
And we were in
plan, Mom.
Maryland. Yeah, we were in Maryland.
That's so smart.
Genius.
Yeah, but my mom left her whole life, her house, her job, everything to get us out of there because he was just a nut.
Oh
Yeah,
my
thank God she
goodness.
did that.
And I didn't see him for like 6 years. So I guess I didn't see him for like 6 years. And then my great grandmother died, and we had to like go back for a funeral. And that's when but by this time I'm
You
like,
were an adult.
yeah. So
What did
I mean,
he say
he's
to
still
you?
a fucking
Yeah, he's still an asshole.
but less scary. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
because you're an old grown ass
Yeah,
woman now.
yeah,
What
yeah.
did he say to you?
Oh, he denied all of that till he died. Like, your mom brainwashed you. I didn't do those things,
Oh, my
and
God.
she, stole you. Like, she had her like a villain and everything. And I mean, that's what abusers do. They make you think like
Isolate.
you're crazy. I'm like, wait, did he never hit me? I don't remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I imagined it. So yeah, till the end,
That's
he
fucked
was
up.
he was just not a good person, but had like some of his bad shit I'm grateful for. Like, I'm not afraid of work.
Yeah.
Again, with the instant bullshit spotting.
So
I can also bullshit people very well.
when you need to, you pull out the tool in your tool belt.
Yeah.
So then have you never had a relationship, like all of your relationship, I would imagine, is with pretty healthy men? Like,
So I've done both. Like, I remember, and I still am attracted to people like my dad.
oh,
I
damn
am,
it.
but
hate-
I recognize it.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And I run. So my like early relationships, I remember like I was super into like what would be called like alpha male type of, and I realized that, but you're young and you don't know how to get out.
You're not
of
going to
it.
connect those dots too.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. No, I knew.
Oh, you knew
I
it was-
knew. I'm like, you remind me of my father. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like maybe you're
Maybe you'll
like my
change.
dad, but you'll love me the right way, that type of shit.
Yeah.
So I've never been like in an abusive romantic relationship or something, but I've definitely like trended towards that. But then my serious relationships that I've been in have been the opposite. I've looked for the opposite.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Like,
it'll work out.
You're nothing like my dad.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'll take
or
it.
you only have the good qualities. Because he did have, I mean, it just seems to me like dudes don't know how to work nowadays. But but if like I look for that, like a hard worker, people who say they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do, shit like that. Those
Yeah.
are things that my father had that and he was regardless of how he treated us, he was very like family oriented.
Right.
And so shit like that.
Yeah, that a hardworking guy is
Yeah.
so attractive. Like
Just
someone who
like-
takes care of themselves and is independent without.
Not
They don't
even
need
for
me.
me. Not even for me. Just for yourself.
Yeah, that is so
Yes.
sexy. Like
Yes.
you don't need me to help you.
Yes.
You're
You're doing
fine.
a thing. You're a whole person, and yeah, cool.
Because that's who you are too. Like
Yeah.
you don't want anybody to. You don't rely on anybody's
Yeah,
support.
and I don't want to have to shape anybody. Like just not even like you have dreams or anything. Just like you get up and you do things and you're productive.
proactive.
Yeah.
Proactive person.
That's what I am.
Yeah.
And if you get with a person that's not like that, they resent you.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, who the fuck you think you are?
Because they're mad at themselves because they don't work as hard. Oh, sorry.
Correct.
Shit, I got bugs in my house.
I also resent people who are lazy though. Like
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I like if anytime, even if like I'm living with someone who's lazy, like I just like wait.
It makes me upset.
It's a gross quality.
I like
Yeah.
see them on the couch and I feel like I want
Get
to
the
like
fuck up.
kick them off the couch.
Is that? I
But
feel
we
the
used to
same
say
way.
my dad was haunted because he would never sleep. He would just be up, like just
gotta be
doing
a
stuff,
ghost.
like sawing wood or like, what are you doing? Like, yeah, we would be like, he's haunted. Like he would,
He's sawing wood.
yeah, he was like a man's, like he would build stuff. He would just be building, like the restaurant my dad eventually had, we built
Jeez.
from like,
From the ground up?
from
like
the ground
physically
up.
built the
We
building?
built it. I paint the first food truck we had. I painted by hand.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, like a paintbrush. It was a van. We painted it. We ripped out the inside. I mean, I was basically a boy. Like I'm the oldest, but he treated me like a boy. We ripped out the inside.
Oh, you're also the oldest. So that's what
Yeah.
some of the leadership qualities
Yeah.
come from that.
But that's so, I mean, those are great qualities that you have that like,
Oh
take
yeah,
you to
I'll
wherever you
build
wanna go.
cabinets and all
I
that
was
shit.
like,
Right
you
now.
guys will build stuff. That's such a good. I wish I could do stuff.
My
like
dad
that.
used to teach me how to change the brakes in his car,
Yeah.
and now he's really old, and I helped him change the brakes on his minivan because he put them on backwards. And like,
Right.
I'm so happy I have that
Yes.
skill. I just want to
Yes.
have skill. I want to
Yeah.
walk around life with a skill set.
And so I also require dudes that I fuck with to have those things. That's just me. I'm not saying if you don't,
Yeah.
whatever.
Do you give him like a
Don't
test
write me.
or-
I want you to run this obstacle course and then spin it around 5 times and then change the brakes.
I
on the
mean,
car.
like if you can't change a flat, like,
Yeah.
come on, get out of here.
have you ever been in a situation where guys have been intimidated by you?
Yeah. Well, people are intimidated by me now. I mean, a lot of that. I was just talking to somebody the other day. Like a lot of dudes say, "I'm scared of you," and I'm always like, "Why?"
That's
That's so weird to me. I mean, it's not weird. A lot of it is racism, but they don't know that. You know what I mean? And I use that to my advantage. I mean, obviously, I'm a woman. I'm not gonna fight you. What are you afraid of? You know what I mean? So like a lot of
so a lot of white dudes.
a
are
lot of
afraid you.
white dudes in the comedies, they'll say that. Like, I'm so scared of you. I'm like, why? Why don't you think about why that is? Have I
Yeah.
ever been anything but nice to you?
Yeah.
So, but I'm like,
so-
if that makes you treat me with respect, then yeah, then be afraid. Then be afraid.
Be afraid,
And
motherfucker.
in some ways, they should be too, but just not physically as how they. Not you. They shouldn't be physically afraid of me how
Yeah.
they act. But I mean, I'll fuck you up in other ways. But
right. You're smart. You know your shit. You've been on the scene.
but
like-
just how they act like I'm gonna swing on them or something is so weird to me.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking idiots. We've talked before on the podcast about white feminism,
Right.
and I have an idea of what it is. I've seen Facebook posts by comedians like Phoebe Robinson, and she'll talk about it about white women are very fragile and they get their feelings hurt a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I think that's bullshit. What are your feelings on that?
I mean, yeah, I think that's true. I always feel sad because I feel like I could totally get on the feminism train if I didn't have to worry so much about racism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't you say on Facebook the other day you were like, "Oh, it's time for me to start preparing for the
gender wars.
the gender war instead of the race war." That
Put
made
the
me
race
laugh.
war on hold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Made me laugh.
Because yeah, it's just I can't. And then some of the things that so because of that, because you have to worry about racism, some of the things that white women who call themselves feminists focus on seem like so trivial to
Yeah.
us because I'm like, oh shit, we're dying. You know
I
what
was
I
gonna
mean?
say,
So I can't
Yeah, and like white
worry.
people are talking about man spreading, which is ridiculous, and we make fun of that shit all the time. That's it's ridiculous.
But I'm also not like, don't do what you're gonna do. I'm just saying, understand where I'm coming from. That I can't join your train right now because I have this big shit over here.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people like white girls. I think that's fucked up. Like, we all have our specific things, but that type of feminism is not for us at this time. It's not, So
the
and-
trivialness of it. Yeah.
and you know, maybe it's not trivial to them in their in at that time because again, they don't have to worry about our shit. But what we usually want is for y'all to jump on
Yeah.
our black female feminism. Just
Platform. Like, what
acknowledge
can
the
white women be
racism.
doing better at feminism?
to bring us into your thing, so then we have time to think about man spreading and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, because I find it upsetting a lot of times when people like, because I mean, for me, feminism obviously is all women. And I hate that even like, because I think the reason that feminism is so far behind is because women are always fighting with each other, usually
Yes.
over men.
Yes.
But then to even bring race into it is
It's-
I'm like, no, guys,
It's all very complicated. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pessimist in this way because everything seems not great.
Well, you know what?
everything is not great.
The
You're
internet-
absolutely right.
The
And I don't
internet-
see the end of it because we're all so divided in all types of ways.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get together and then within our own groups we're like, and then black women are like, even I might not agree with another black woman on how that,
Right.
you know, and it's just, I really don't, I feel like humans are just like a flawed test. We'll be gone in a while and hopefully what comes next will be better.
Yeah.
I feel like humans are we're just, nah.
I feel like social
not gonna work
media
out.
contributes to that bullshit so much in terms of me going, oh God, this is never going to get better because people just say the dumbest shit when they're
here's the
fighting
thing.
for things.
Here's the thing. I always think social media didn't invent those thoughts. It's just that you get to see them now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It gave you an outlet to get them out.
Yeah, people didn't all of a sudden like, oh, I can type, so now I'm thinking these new things. These are things they've always thought. We just know they exist, and it's good and bad because it's giving a voice to people you wouldn't have heard before too. So
Absolutely.
you know, whatever you want to focus on is how you view social media. I view it where I'm like, oh, now I'm hearing from women who have been sexually assaulted that I may not have ever even heard about it. Or I'm hearing about certain angles of racism that would not have been said before, or gay people or whatever. That's what I'm focusing on rather than the things that annoy me.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
great.
Yeah.
That's not pessimist at all. That's,
Yeah, I know, right?
there are a lot of.
productively.
I love reading. Yeah, I do love that part about it where I can hear other people's stories or other people
Yeah.
putting things in a way that I'm like, oh yes, that's
Right.
You're
There's good
exactly
shit
right.
in between all the other bullshit. I mean, I do feel like we are largely stupid and devolving
Totally.
intellectually, but there's good
I agree.
things.
I absolutely agree.
There's good things in between. And those things need to be said, and hopefully they're being. The thing with social media too, I'm always wondering if those things are being read by the people who need to see it, or even, and if it's being read, is it being understood and taken in the way that you want. I try to post I get like shit for this because I'm very like, well, what's the other side? I'm one of those people like,
Yeah.
well, let's look at it this way, and I'm never like, yeah, like this is the side, and da, da, da. I'm always like, well, da, da, da. And I'm always trying to speak to people who I'm feel may not agree with me right away.
Because that's how you get a productive conversation going.
That's
How
why
else?
I always try to. You can't
surround
start a
yourself
post
with
like,
everyone who
first of all, or
Oh. I know. Yeah. You're not getting anyone's. Now you're making.
You're
pissing
basically
people
yelling
off,
at me.
Even if you're right,
exactly.
you're pissing me off already. I don't even want to listen to you.
But that's an angle that can gain you your fan base, and in our business. You're a comedian, as well,
Yeah.
So yeah,
I try not to do.
I mean, I
don't-
see it and I know what it's about. I know why they're doing it. You're cultivating your own fan base, but if you're really trying, because then you'll see people like, Facebook doesn't change minds. That's false. I've had people write me all the time like, I never thought about it that way. I now talk to my family that like it does. You know
Well,
what I mean?
that's
If
what
people are
really
open to it.
introduced me to that whole idea of white feminism. Because when I heard a lot of Black female comedians describe, it, I'm like, oh, you are absolutely right.
And how would you have known that without people?
Yeah.
Exact. So,
I knew that so-and-so complaining about like Tyler, like manspreading on the subway.
Right.
That's stupid to me, but I didn't really understand like the notion of that term and what it means. And I totally get it.
Yeah.
And I want to stop it.
yeah, people saying social media is stupid is just another way of silencing people, basically.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
we all search out what our agenda is, but I do feel like there's a way to engage with people that, if I see, first of all, I ain't reading that shit, or all caps or whatever, or this like whiny, condescending,
So
like
annoying.
petulant shit from like adults. I don't want to hear that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's whatever. We're all very immature.
Oh yeah, but I'm a person who I want to be educated, and I want other people to educate me on things because I don't know everything, and
we all
neither
hope
does
there's
anybody
like
else.
more of you and us than the other, but who knows? You know,
You
what I
really
mean?
don't know.
I want to hope that there's more people like that.
I think there
Than
are,
there are.
and I think those are the people that rarely comment on
They
social
really comment
media.
because they have jobs and shit. That
They're
will,
busy.
that
They're
will-
busy doing stuff. That's the hope. That's what we're all hoping
well, they're busy.
for.
They're not only busy doing stuff. Like I write, my jokes and whatever, and I have like some like controversial jokes. And like the other day, I wrote about. I said this is a joke and it's true, but I said I'm up for a part as a butch lesbian, which is funny because when I tried that in real life, I gagged, and so and it was a joke, but it's true. But people will write me and say, I liked what you said, but I work at and I can't like it because then it comes up on my. So don't think they're not looking or reading.
Oh my
They just
goodness.
can't engage with you because people have real jobs, not this comedy bullshit that we're doing.
Sometimes I forget that. Yeah.
Well, we had an instance on last week's episode where we interviewed someone and we had to like cut out her name because she came on the air at the live episode and asked us this really like crazy question about sex, and then she's like, "Oh my
Holy
god,
shit.
I forgot that I work at this place and everyone works at this place and I got to take my name out." And we're like, "Okay, we got you, no problem."
That we're in a rare profession where we can base it, and even we censor ourselves sometimes. I try not to, but even once we get into a writer's room or we're working for a corporation,
or you get a show, you're on a network or something,
you're like,
"Oh,
don't
maybe
say
I
anything
can't
about
write
this
that."
product,
Yeah.
So we forget that, and then but those people are taking that shit in and they're engaging in their own ways. So
Well, that's good.
everybody keep posting. I'm reading everything.
I
but,
like, but I agree with you. The first of all.
yeah,
Oh,
it's just
come
like,
on.
who are you talking to?
So you said that lesbian joke was based off of a real thing. So have you?
Yeah, I try. When you do the thing where your man is like, "Lou, let me get a threesome," type
okay.
of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I tried that, and I was like, okay, because I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I get to pick the girl, and and so we went out like on a hunt for the chick, and this girl. I saw her, I was like, her. And she was like so gorgeous. And I went up to her and I was like, you're so pretty. She's like, you're so pretty. And I was like, holy
You're
shit,
so pretty.
this is easy. You know what I mean? And but what it turned out was she was way more into me than him. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
nice. I would have
was
been like,
well,
score.
and so I was like, oh, okay. But then when it came down to the actual act, I was like, like, oh, I don't like women. You
Right,
know what I mean? Yeah.
right.
I tried
And
to eat a vagina out once and I was like, yeah, nah.
No, because you know how women are like, I was always like, I like breasts. Who doesn't like breasts? I'll touch the
Right.
boobs. I always touch boobs, and she's pretty.
Girl time. Pretty.
But I'm like, but then I was like, don't kiss me. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? So I've never had a woman this close to my face. That type of shit. And I didn't even get to the pussy eating part. Just like the touching him. I was just like, well, Jesus, this doesn't feel like what I like.
Right.
But you would never know.
Yeah, I
until
would
you
have
try
never
it.
known until I had a pussy in my face. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was just not great for any of us because he ain't get attention. I didn't want nothing.
Were you
And
like, we
I
gotta
was
wrap
like,
this
y'all
up?
can fuck. I don't even care. Just don't make me touch the pussy again,
That's so
And she was like, oh no.
Was she bummed that you didn't want to touch her pussy?
Yeah, I mean, she like pursued me for a while after
Aw.
that. Yeah. I mean, I wish.
No one likes to get rejected. Like,
I mean,
anyway.
I always wish I was into chicks because I feel like I would clean up. Like chicks
Yep.
Me too.
always hit on me way more than men, and really, really good looking women too. I'm like, damn, I would be a pimp, but
Yeah.
I'm just not into it.
It's just not where you.
I know you.
I often think that same thing. I'm like, man, if I was a lesbian,
I'd be horrible.
I've tried. My boyfriend and I
Yeah.
we've done a couple 3-ways, and we'll like hit on the woman together, and I automatically put myself in the role of the dude and be like, "You look very pretty today."
Which I think you kind of have to do to make them feel comfortable. Nobody wants no dude.
I kind of liked that though. It's like, ooh, I am the aggressor.
Do you get that a lot from comedy, from after shows? I get that after shows. Like my
No.
boyfriend wants to.
No,
Me and my boyfriend went to sleep.
it's
with
all
you.
on
Really?
apps.
I get that all the time.
Wow.
Wait, so
I'm so jealous.
Couples want to bang you after they see you
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah.
Your act. I mean, I've seen your
I
act. It's
mean,
very good.
It's not very sexual, but yeah, they're like, man.
They could tell though.
Or they'll come up and they'll be like, my boyfriend loves you.
Yeah, I'm going through your act right now. I'm like, what joke
What?
makes
I don't know.
people and
But
I
you're
don't
very
know.
relaxed on stage, and you kind of it is sexy.
Yeah.
There's a sexiness to.
Yeah, without
well, you
the
have a
sex.
swagger. I think maybe is what it is.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so that's always been funny.
How do you respond to that request? Like, oh,
I
my
always say,
boyfriend-
damn, I wish I was in the chicks. I'm
Yeah.
like, your man is hot though, but sorry.
yeah.
I'm flattered. Sign my mailing list, buy my shirt. I don't know what else to do,
That's how you get.
And
yeah.
ain't no amount of drinks gonna make me change my mind. So
Yeah, 'cause,
sorry.
It's so funny
Yeah.
because I think a lot of times female comics are like, male comics get hit on by whoever after shows, and like, I mean, as a female comedian, I feel like we rarely.
Oh, I don't get hit on by dudes by
Yeah.
themselves. It's after. They'll write you like, I saw you earlier.
Did you?
I'm gonna follow you and like all your tweets.
Yeah, like I don't know if I was in the third row with the. Oh,
I was
no, I
laughing a
didn't know.
lot.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had a blue shirt. I guess they were afraid of the immediate rejection, so they write you later or whatever.
Yeah.
so.
It's less scary to get rejected online
Yes,
than in
yes.
person.
Yeah, but dudes never really, unless they're like just blotto and just fucking being an asshole. Oh, I like black girls.
You get a lot, I feel like you get
Well
a lot
then.
of scared white guys be like, hey, I'm Bill. And,
No.
No?
White dudes are they used to, especially dudes named Bill. They come right up to you. Hi,
Really?
I'm Bill.
you're super hot. Like those a Bill kind of dude. They right up in your face. You know what I
see,
mean?
Bill in my eyes is like the scrawny, meek.
Oh no, you're
I had a
talking
neighbor
like a
named
Trevor.
Bill.
You're a Trevor.
See, Trevor to me is like, hey, what's up?
Oh, like a rock, like a
Yeah.
like a Daria dude.
Yeah,
type of dude.
yeah.
Okay, I get it. But like the Bill guy who works in accounting with like the
Oh.
red face type of dudes, they love me. And I'm just like, you are not the type of white dude that I'm into. And so sorry. Like
What type of
that's
white tubes are you into?
I like
Ooh, yeah.
which is so maybe I don't know. Anyway, I like a strapping Midwestern, like corn-fed fucking. Maybe his parents are racist, but he was in the military and
Ooh,
had
you
black
love my
friends
boyfriend,
type
Wow. He's voting for Trump and everything.
Oh no, he himself is not. He
is a kid,
His eyes have been open because he
Right.
left his town to do
Yeah.
whatever. But his mom, it would be horrified to meet me, type of shit.
Right.
That's amazing.
And yeah, like that type of dude. I like that kind of dude. I like bros, which is so weird.
Really?
I like white dudes, but not.
Really?
So I like. So here's how I distinguish it. I like dudes, not men. I like white dudes.
I get what you
not
mean.
white men. Dudes who are like
What about bros?
Robert. and like
Yeah.
look like somebody's dad or
Well, I always love when, because I have a couple of friends that are like bros, but they're really sweet
they're
guys.
really sweet and they're
then I'm
usually
like,
so dumb. It's just like
Yeah.
endearing.
yeah, it is endearing because they're kind.
Yeah.
And
I haven't met a dude. I haven't. Oh, and that's probably because they don't approach me. Like those will be the people, the dudes who are like, I don't like black girls or whatever.
Yeah.
I only fuck blondes or whatever. So, but the bros that approach me are always mad cool.
yeah.
So
And whenever I meet a bro, I stereotype him as like, oh God. And then I get to know them. I'm like, shit, you're really cool.
yeah, I'm like, you ain't like anything that I would have, thought. So yeah, that's the kind of white dudes I like.
Do you date black
They
guys
do
too?
push-ups.
Do push-ups.
Of course.
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
kind
that's
of black
my
guys do you like?
default.
Yeah.
Is black guys. But for whatever reason, it's only the majority of guys that hit on me are white for like the last 6-7 years. or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I haven't changed anything
Yeah.
about myself, but I don't know. So
But you like the bro.
also, I do a lot of Midwestern toward, like I go through
Okay.
the Midwest a lot. I started in the Midwest. I don't think I do like quote unquote white comedy. I don't know what they're into about it, but that's who. But even in New York, white dudes come up to me way more than black guys do.
Really? That's so interesting.
Or anything.
Yeah.
New York, anybody can hit on you here, but out of everything, white dudes hit on me more.
Awesome.
I don't know if that's awesome or not, but yeah, that's what it is. just facts. Don't start feeling yourselves.
Is there? I've never slept with a black guy, which
Oh no.
I am more attracted. Like, to me, like, black men are just, I don't know. I just feel like they're just more masculine to me than a
I mean,
white
you're
dude.
doing a fetishized thing.
Yeah,
And which
exactly. because
which
not every black man is the same similar type of person.
It's some like Mandingo dick slayer. So
Yeah.
so that's what you have in your head. And the same thing, like the first white guy I dated, after a minute, I was like, holy shit, I'm fetishizing you. Like
Yeah.
more than he was
Is
me.
that good or bad though?
I don't know, but
You're
I
not
wasn't
disrespecting
being
him?
no, I mean, I was like, I want to go to a fucking cow tipping bullshit. And he's like, I don't even do that. I'm like, but you're white. You know what I mean?
Well, when I dated a Dominican guy, I was like, take me dancing in Queens.
Yeah, he's like-
but then he did, and I was like, this is the best.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
getting to know other people's cultures too, because
So I think
it's
that's really what it
fun.
is as for me, it's not which is the fetishizing. It wasn't about them. It was about experiencing life
Yeah.
through them.
But you also like them as a person, so it's
Yeah,
like
whatevs.
a cherry. I know, maybe not.
It's like,
then.
yeah,
Maybe
sure.
Not.
You're
I was like,
great.
it's the cherry on top to their great personality.
I'm a narcissist. I like me most.
well, that's good though. I don't think that's a narcissist. I think you're.
Oh no, I'm a narcissist.
You are?
Oh yeah.
But what other qualities would you define yourself as a narcissist other than you put yourself first? Because I feel like most people should, and a lot of times most
Oh, I
women
mean,
don't.
in relationships, I'm just very self-involved. You know,
You're
what I
not.
mean?
Are you caring as a girlfriend?
Yeah, but I mean, I am, but it's always to make myself feel good. You know what I mean? You know what's I'm trying to be a realist about myself lately, and just in general. Am I doing it for that person, or am I doing it to seem like a good girlfriend? You know what I mean? What's underneath that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I think the narcissism comes.
Well,
of course,
every comedian has to be a narcissist.
Oh, yeah, of
So
course.
For
We all
our
want
occupations,
attention.
we chose to talk into a microphone where
Right.
people be quiet and pay and listen to us.
Yeah, we're basically saying I have 10 minutes of
I
something
mean-
that you need to sit,
Right.
shut the fuck up and
and
listen
it's
to
only
me.
my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crazy
But that's what I love about comedy, because you control the whole thing,
Yes,
and it's
that's
so
it. Power.
enjoyable.
It's power.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Oof.
I just comedy for me, like my favorite comedian is Richard Pryor, and he does a lot of stuff with silence and just like mood. So he would do a very serious joke and it would be so quiet, and then he would do like a big joke and then everybody laughs. I just thought that was it's almost like doing a magic trick. It's like, I'm gonna tell you how to feel for an hour. You know what I mean?
I love
and
that.
I'm
it's
gonna
not-
manipulate your
It's not even gonna
emotions.
be all laughing. You know,
But
and you're gonna hate me sometimes, then I'm gonna make you love me. You know what I mean? And
Well, that's
so,
what
yeah.
made a lot of his bits too really powerful, because he was so comfortable in the silence.
Yeah, yeah.
And he forces you to be comfortable
Yeah,
with it. And then you're like,
everybody's leaning in.
oh shit!
Yeah.
I am
And then
hanging on the edge of my seat.
You're leaning in, and he's like, "Dicky balls" or something stupid. So yeah, no, but I'm definitely a narcissist, and I'm trying to work on it and not be a bad one, I guess.
What's the worst qualities of your narcissism that you're trying to change?
Fuck. Y'all didn't tell me this shit was gonna
That's
be
a tough
like,
question.
what is it? I mean, I do feel like I'm very I like being alone, but I want people to love me at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Like, love me now, get out of here.
Then go
love
away.
me only how I want you to love me, and when.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you had fights about that with past relationships?
Yes.
Past relationships?
No, not fights, but and also, and this is all wrapped up in the narcissism. I'm very like always thinking about that. Whereas the person that I'm with might not even pick that up, and I'm just like, why don't you sense that I'm doing this? You know what I mean? So that's all like wrapped up in that. You know what I mean? Like being so not navel gazy, but what would it be? Just like internal.
Well, you see what's going on from the seat,
And I'm
front
like,
seat
why
in your
don't
head,
you see it? You
Yeah.
know, that type of
expecting them to make a move because you think they should, and
and all it's all kind of too wrapped up in like growing up in an abusive household. Like, I don't think I deserve, to be treated well. Like underneath, like even though that's what I want, parts of me doesn't think that, you know what I mean? Or I don't trust it. That
And
on
you're in
and off
conflict with yourself.
abuse
for it?
that I talked about with my dad.
Right.
Like, I'm like, when is the shoe gonna drop? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that never leaves you, even though you know that's what you're doing and that's what's going on, you know? So,
Right.
yeah, it's a lot of shit. I should probably be in therapy again and shit. So,
I mean, it seems like you got a pretty better hold of yourself than most.
yeah, it's just
the
like,
self-awareness is so important because I feel like then that's when you can start to work on yourself. And
well, that's
once you
what I'm trying to
identify
get.
it,
I'm
yeah.
like too self-aware, but not doing anything about
Right.
it.
It's the next step. It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The knowing is the first step
Knowing
for
is
sure.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that's about it for
Okay.
us. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook all the time, talking shit. Janelle James is my name, and then I have a website, JanelleJamesComedy.com. I tweet sometimes if people behave themselves at Janelle J Comic. And yeah, I'm all around New York doing shows, too many shows, like an obsessive person.
Yeah, go check out
Buy yourself
Janelle in New York or wherever in the Midwest, maybe.
Yeah, everywhere.
Thank you so much. This has been Guys We Fucked, the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Excessive touch, outline color, purple lights that accent the colors, tempting temptations sent under tables. Please don't leave us with any labels. Shipping with your gold, flown from the cold. Simultaneously, it felt quite lovely. Stucco ceilings falling down on me. From the part of the couch, from your hands to my mouth. Can't you see the opportunity? Since you
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. This episode is also sponsored by Movement Watches. They're the perfect look whether you're going for elegance or a night out on the town with your friends to try and slay some D. Movement Watches has tons of interchangeable color schemes to match your summer outfit or mood for all the day's look. These watches look like they should cost around $400 or $500, but Movement keeps them at a perfect price point, starting at just $115. Go to mvmtwatches.com/GWF and they'll give you 15% off your entire purchase.